Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm fresh out of the bath. I've just roughly done my hair. Isn't it funny when you're actually at home and don't have to do anything? You kind of time runs out on you anyway. Anyway, I'll wait for you all to join me. I hope you can. I'm going to put some of this Aldi eye care. Now, just sorry to... Hello, Stacey. Sorry to bore you all, but just to let you know that I have washed my hands before this. We're all going to get sick of this, but we should get sick of it. I have washed my hands. A couple of tips. I'm fine, thank you. I did sort of fall apart a bit because, as some of you know, I'm sure everybody's got their own issues. And I really don't want to sound like I'm being selfish or self-absorbed, but, you know, we're all going through our own personal difficulties with this virus. But I had to say goodbye to my dad on Monday because they're only allowing us to visit once a week, but they've warned us that by the time next week comes, they probably, I think in all likelihood, will have banned visits altogether. So the thing is, what makes it particularly difficult, my dad was very tech savvy before. He would have just FaceTimed us. He can't talk and he can't just pick up a phone. And because of his lack of communication, it just feels so much more painful having to leave him there. But the nursing home, in fairness, have been brilliant. And we've been calling him on Skype, got him set up with a tablet. We've been calling him on Skype. Hello, everyone. I'm going to say hello to you all. And so, you know, we've all got to make the best of it as we can. So just reminding you all, please, guys, wash your hands before you do your makeup. And what I know I've just done it now. Having said that, I've just applied that eye cream with my fingers, but I'm not going to be applying makeup with my fingers for a while, just because even though my hands are clean, you're dipping your hands into your makeup and then dipping it out. It's just more opportunity for anything that's lying on your hands to get onto your makeup and then onto your face. The other thing I have is makeup spray, just to give you an idea. This one's called the Pro Hygiene Collection. Now, all you do with this, it doesn't ruin your makeup. You can spray a palette. So, for example, I'm going to use today this palette, which is the new Charlotte Tilbury maroon palette, because you all asked for it. Hello, hello, I'm going to come and say hello to you. Now, all you have to do, it doesn't ruin your palette. All you have to do is sort of spray it about that far apart, and then you just literally give it a spray like that and let it dry, and then that means that the surface is nice and clean and disinfected. Now, you also can use rubbing alcohol as well in a spray bottle. It doesn't have to be this, but just so that you can see, this is called Pro Hygiene Collection. They've got their own website and they've also got it on Cult Beauty. I mean, I don't know if they've sold out, but they've got their own website with things that will just dry and it won't ruin the makeup. It will just make sure that the surface is nice and clean. And I shall be using brushes from now on. There's a few videos been done on makeup hygiene, so do go and have a look at that. We're all in new territory. My son, I've decided, although the schools are not closed, I've pulled him out of school. One, because I'm an at-risk person and I'm supposed to be keeping myself isolated, and how can I do that when I have to take my son to school? And also because my son was hospitalised twice when he was 1 year old with swine flu, and I'm not risking it. If they find me, they find me. I don't care. I have been homeschooling him. He's had maths and English and science this morning, and it's quite fun. Accepting his mum as teacher is not easy, but he's done a lot of work this morning, haven't you? Come and say hello, Jack. So I told him he can have some time off while I do my video. Now I'm going to say hello to you all. So, hello Stacey, hello Ellie, hello Shahina, hello Home Life Love, hello Bushra, hello Paolo from Italy. We're prisoners at home. Very sorry for your father. I'm near to you with all my heart, and absolutely I am near to you with all my heart, Paola. Paola, is that how you pronounce your name? Paola Travaglini. We're all thinking about you in Italy. You've gone through so much heartache. My son cancelled his plans to visit his grandparents today, Shahina. Yeah, I think that sounds really sensible, but really tough on your grandparents. Hello, not fit for print beauty. Hello there, Shoshana, Rebecca. Your children at home, Bushra. Are you, is that what, from where you are your schools closed, or are you doing it like me, just doing it because you're taking them out? Be interested to know. Shahina, my son is on emergency on-call status for his station. Right. Oh, is that ambulance? 5 week schools closed here. Just like me, you've taken him out. Ah, right. Love from the UK. I'm in the UK as well, Bushra. Yeah, I've taken him out. I don't know if we're going to get fined. I don't care. We will be safe. There's just too many risk factors. And I can understand totally the government's guidelines and why they've made them, but they don't relate to me individually. I'm not putting Jack with an elderly grandparent. I may have done 2 years ago, and that would have actually applied to me. My dad would have been looking after him. But he's not being looked after by an elderly grandparent. He can be looked after by me. And he's been at risk in the past. As I said, hospitalised twice, and I'm at risk. And at the moment, fingers crossed, I'm still allowed to visit my dad once a week as long as I have my temperature taken. Oh, police. Yeah. Sorry, police, Shahina. Yeah. They're putting you on stay-home orders for 30 days now. I think we'll follow suit. I'm just absolutely amazed and stunned that something can spread so fast. It's very scary, and we're all in uncharted territory. Now, if anybody's interested, has got elderly parents, I have been researching equipment, and a friend of mine got in touch and told me about a tablet that you can use. It's designed for the elderly, but I don't want to patronise the elderly, because until my dad had his stroke, he used to ring me and say, have you updated your iOS? So believe me, I am not by any means lumping all elderly people together, but this tablet is designed for elderly people who are technophobes, who are really scared of tablets and devices. This tablet, basically, if anyone wants the details, do comment below and I'll let you know. So this tablet is basically, it is a big screen and it's big font, got one button only, no other buttons, no apps that you've got to open. Basically, you can send a picture to your elderly relative and the picture will just appear on the screen with your name. You can video message, you can video call your relative, and if they don't press that button, it will automatically answer the call. So basically, they have to press the button in order to stop the call coming in. And you can set it that it can only come in from you. So basically, I'm looking into that. So yeah, it will just count down. And if, say, his carers are changing him or, washing him or whatever, they can just press the button and reject the call. But if you don't press anything, the call will be answered and will appear and go, hi, Dad, on the screen. So it's a really good, it's £29 a month. And I think it's £899 to buy. So we're looking into that for my dad. If any of you got elderly relatives who cannot use technology, or, got real communication, somebody messaged me this morning, sorry, I've forgotten who, but you know who you are because I replied to you. Mum has got dementia in a nursing home. If you want those details, do let me know. I just think it's really great. And before I move on and do my makeup, little tip, everybody's running out of hand wash, are they not? And everybody's going a bit crazy. Just wanted to let you know that some of you will know tea tree is very good. It's a natural antiseptic. It's a natural antiviral. And in actual fact, they think that that thing on my head was a wart, which is caused by a virus. And tea tree got rid of it. I mean, it did burn my skin around there, but it did get rid of it. So tea tree is known to be antibacterial and antiviral. And I got this set from QVC, which is body wash, but it actually can be used because it's sold as body wash. I think that's why it's still available. Okay, but you can use it as a hand wash just because it says body wash. Pigment is pigment, soap is soap. So this was a set. The set I checked this morning, they don't do the set anymore, but there's 500 mils in that. 500 mils in that, and I also got it in the set 500 mils of just the straightforward tea tree wash. But all of these have got tea tree in them, 2%. And basically that is got antiviral, antibacterial qualities. Australian Body Care, you can get this on Amazon, you can get it on QVC. You don't need to stock up and panic buy, because this is going to last you so long. 500 mils, and in fact they do a litre size, and you don't have to buy a second one because they do refills. So just in case anybody is looking for a good hand wash, the only thing I will say, it may be caused by this, it may be because I used alcohol gel to go out, but my hands are getting very dry, so I'm going to have to use some hand cream. But I'd rather have clean hands that are dry than anything nasty sitting on them. All right, I'm going to get on now and do this look. So there was a Wayne Goss collaboration. It's gone live. The cult. What's in the Wayne Goss collaboration? Love you all, Jess. Hello, Jess. Jess Simpson and Jessica Mabry. In times like these, technology is priceless. It is absolutely. They're telling people with weakened immune systems to stay home. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I'm at risk or not, but I'm offered the flu vaccine every year. So, because of that, I'm staying home. When I did go to the shops, because I had to, because you can't do online shopping, I go in with my fleece that's got like pockets that I can put my hands in. I don't take my hands out of my pockets unless I need to reach up for something. If I reach up for something, I go pay for it, get back in the car and use my antibacterial wash. I'm just being very, very strict. I'm going to use this CC cream because it is a moisturizer, a color corrector and everything in one. It's actually quite light for me and it's medium tan. It Cosmetics, by the way, they're always very light. Their medium is most people's fair. Are you buying the Samantha March PR box? I haven't looked at it yet. So tell us, come on guys, tell us what's in these PR boxes. My lighting is going bonkers again. Hello, Mum. Tell us what's in these PR boxes. So the Wayne Goss one and the Samantha one. Let's share some knowledge while I'm just putting this CC cream on. Duo blush. You've come off to have a look. Oh, thank you, Shahina. We can all do internet shopping while we're stuck indoors. Duo bronzer. What brush? This brush came with the CC cream. on QVC. So when you buy this on QVC, you can get it in a set with the brush. So the brush is an It Cosmetics brush, and it's called the Heavenly Skin CC Skin Perfecting Brush. It came in this little tube here, and it's got a lid on here. I've been keeping it in there just to keep it clean. But you can get it in a set from QVC, and it was in easy installments as well. So it's actually designed for this foundation. Duo Lip Set all comes in a PR box as a set. Have I missed some comments here? Hello, Irish Rose. Good to see you too. So Duo Bronzer, Duo Highlighter. Right, I'm just going to go over my cheek peaks. And the good thing about this CC cream as well, by the way, is I know you're probably not putting on as much as you would do of sunscreen, but it's got factor 50 plus sunscreen. Now, you know, you'd never put on as much foundation as you do sunscreen. So I would suggest you use sunscreen as well. But if, like me, you're not going out today and you're being a bit lazy, it's better than no sunscreen. You go in and out of love with CC cream. I think I do, Jess. You're right. Did she say on QVC? Yes. What, the CC cream and this as well you can get on QVC. So this one, I got a set. The set's no longer available of the hand wash, but you can get, they've all got tea tree in them, okay? 2% tea tree oil, which is plenty. This, because it's very powerful tea tree oil, you don't need a whole lot of it. So you can get skin wash with lavender. You may be talking about the CC cream, but I'm just going to carry on for now. You can get skin wash with lemon, which is nice, or you can get just the original skin wash. And I've just ordered on Amazon, I've ordered the tea tree hand cream or body lotion because my hands are getting dry. But if you're talking about the CC cream, yes, I got that on QVC as well. I love it. Pillow Talk and Star Island highlighter. Star Island. Ooh. I love it CC creams. It's just that I can't wear the illumination one when I might get into the light as I sparkle. I have noticed that it does sparkle a bit and the powder sparkles a bit. If you go close up, it starts to look a bit glittery. I think probably the original is better, and definitely the original Bye Bye Pores powder. Don't get the illumination one because it has got tiny glitter particles in it that sometimes look like you're sweating rather than glowing. But actually, the CC cream illuminating one I don't find as bad as the powder. And I'm just going to use a bit, as I'm doing it, I might as well stick with it or IT, I never know. Oh, mind you, I've just said that I don't want to use my fingers. Let me get a brush. I really don't want to use my fingers at the moment. Just because I just want to make sure that, let me just get a brush. I'm sure I can find a brush here. This one will do, I think. It's not ideal. Oh no, that one will do. Excuse me. This one's Charlotte's. This is not the best brush to do it with. It's Charlotte's flat foundation brush, but I'm just going to use that to put some Bye Bye under eye, under my eyes. Fingers are great normally, but at the moment I just think the more you start dipping your fingers into your products, the more potential there is for you to be leaving stuff in there that is not going to be helpful on your face. And of course, clean your brushes too. Right, let's have you compared the new CT copper charge to Charlotte Darling? I haven't had a chance, but I will do that now because I think they might be quite close, but I think there's a few differences as well. So I'll do that after I've done the maroon look. So just remind me, if I say, right, I'm off now, I haven't got a rush to be anywhere. That's the good thing. So you'll be seeing me pop up on a few more lives now because I can't go and visit my dad and I'm not going out. So at the end, just remind me if I start talking so much I forget. And I'm just using a bit of the Bye Bye Under Eye and I'm mixing because I've got this in my little palette. This is the It Girl Beauty book from this year. And I'm mixing the Bye Bye Under Eye to use on the rest of my face because there's a very dark one and a couple of very light ones. This lighting is still going bonkers and I haven't even got an extra light on. This is just sunlight. Would be great to see more of you. Oh, right. Do you know what? I was going to move my head towards the screen. I realise now what you mean. Sorry. Yes. Do you know what? That's one good thing that's come out of this because I was being torn in so many directions, picking Jack up from school, coming back, doing everything. And I was really missing you guys. So it will give me the opportunity because I love doing this. It'll give me the opportunity and I just hadn't got round. I was planning to do the comparison video on Monday, but I was such a wreck after saying goodbye to my dad. I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. But I'm feeling a bit more resilient now. Now, I'm just going to take, I have got the loose Bye Bye Pores powder. So I'm just going to, I did have a brush for this somewhere, but I'm just going to use Charlotte's contour brush. You really don't need a lot of this powder and it's got a lot of moisturising stuff in it. It doesn't look powdery. I know everyone says that, but it really doesn't. I can't decide. I'm not sure I would use all the products. Is that Allura Mercier? This is the set. I'm going to have to go and look at this when I come off. 40% off the retail price. Pixie Glow and Hourglass Scattered Light. Ooh. Something off the Inky list. It has a Laura Mercier powder. Oh, Laura Mercier's setting powder. That sounds very interesting. I'll probably, by the time I finish my live, it'll be sold out. Never mind, I'm sure I won't run out of makeup very soon. Okay, so we're going to use now. This will have dried out, as you can see. There's a little bit of droplets around the side where I sprayed it with my antiseptic spray. But we are ready to go. So I'm going to use the prime shade of Charlotte's new palette called Mesmerizing Maroon. I did use this the other day and I loved it. Ooh, nice. Now, don't forget, although this is recommended for green eyes, is it green eyes or blue eyes? Green eyes, I think she recommends this for. Maroon, purples and maroons actually contrast with any eye colour. Because basically, unless you've got purple eyes, I've said this before, then it's going to contrast. Whereas if you're wearing green eyeshadow, then, and you've got green eyes, it's going to match your eyes, but it's not going to contrast with them. If you're wearing brown eyeshadow, same if you've got brown eyes. But if you're wearing purple, it will pretty much contrast with anybody's eyes unless you're wearing purple contact lenses. Okay, so that is the prime shade. I love this prime shade. It's gorgeous. And actually, it would go really nicely over the top of Rose Gold Eyes to Mesmerize if you wanted to use that as a base. And then I'm going to use the enhanced shade. Now, the other thing about this, let me show you there. Look, you can still see the droplets on the side where I sprayed it, but don't worry because the actual powder is dry. This reminds me a little bit of Urban Decay's, what was it, cherry palette, something cherry. So I'm just taking that up into the socket and over sort of 3/4 of my mobile lid. It does actually, Stacey, you were right though. You were very correct in what you were saying about it looking like confident eyes. Now, I'm going to say this here, but I'm probably going to repeat myself if I do a video on this, like a non-live video. The thing is about comparisons. Let me just sort of take a step back a minute. If we go back to when Charlotte Tilbury brought out her makeup, I am going to probably repeat this. So you can switch off my intro and I do a kind of non-live. If you go back to the history of Charlotte Tilbury and her makeup line, her original purpose was kind of making makeup more accessible to people who were perhaps a bit afraid of colour or wanted to recreate looks that they'd seen, classic looks, but they just didn't know how. And that's how her kind of 10 iconic looks were born. It was like, I'm going to pick 10 iconic looks and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step and give you every product that you need to make that look. That was kind of how she started out. I'm just going to take the smoke shade and I'm going to do that little sideways V. Now, she did the 10 iconic looks and then she started to bring out a few sort of limited editions. And then I feel with Charlotte Tilbury is she kind of got swept up by demand. A lot of people using her products and a lot of makeup artists using her products, which is when she started bringing out these big palettes. But she was still trying to keep this whole, I want to make it easy for people. So she kept, like, she was bringing out the 12-pan palettes, but she was still using terms like prime, enhance, smoke. And it got a bit silly in the 12-pan palettes because actually, you know, some of the trios, you thought, well, how am I going to use that as a prime shade, you know? And it was like she was trying to satisfy too many people, the makeup artists and the people that wanted 12-pan palettes. But she also wanted to keep it simple for other people, but it just wasn't working. And I think, you know, there has been some criticism, and I've seen a bit on here and a bit on other sites like, oh, is Charlotte, she's bringing out colours that she had before, and, you know, this one looks a bit like confident eyes. But I'm actually going to defend Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm, you know, there's nothing, as I said, no one's sponsoring me to say this. But I actually think that what she's done with this collection is she's gone back to her original philosophy, which was, I want to make this easy to put together a look. And by colour coding it and saying, this is the colour to use if you've got green eyes, and this is the colour to use if you've got brown eyes. And what's more, I'll throw in a liner as well. I think that's more like her original concept. So yes, there probably are similar shades to what she's bought out in previous £12 palettes, and possibly some of the the quad palettes. But I actually love this collection because this is what drew me into Charlotte Tilbury. Not because I wanted something easy particularly, but I just love the concept of pulling together a look. The only thing I would like to see is her to actually suggest a whole look, or a blush to go with each of these color coded. Maybe that'll be next. But to me, I think some of the gimmicky things, like, are more like the pillow talk and bringing out all the pillow talks, or bringing out all these 12 pan or the icon palette. They were more gimmicks, whereas I think this is more, in my opinion, this is more true to her philosophy around makeup. And I love it. And they are so easy. You can see it's very difficult with this quad to actually mess up, because the colours actually go so nicely with one another that they just blend seamlessly in, and you can literally be jabbering away like I am now, not really paying attention to what you're doing, and it's going to come out looking. And then you see, once, yes, exactly, Shoshana. And then once you've got, say, this one, you can go, do you know what, though? I do fancy blue. So, like what I was doing the other day with the blue eyeshadow is I was then, instead of using the blue eyeshadow and the blue pencil, I used the blue eyeshadow and the copper pencil and put that underneath and use, and you can start playing then. It's sort of, but you start out from something quite simple and then you start building and playing and inventing, and it just increases your confidence. So I think this set is great, and it's kind of missing the point a little bit, I think. I can understand collectors want to know if there's repeats, but if you start looking to see where all the copied shades are, I actually think it's missing the point, because this isn't about repeating or not repeating shades. It's about putting together something that, if you've got green eyes, is going to look great on your green eyes, because it's going to contrast. Anyway, I'm done talking. Green, blue, no palettes yet. I like that, Bushra, yet. Mention that the celestial shades were not in the quads. Exactly, Stacey. No, I agree. If you've already got them, I totally get why, if you're a bit of a Charlotte Tilbury collector and you've already got them, of course you don't want to pay £40 for something you've already got. And I do think that you're absolutely right that this is very similar to Confident Eyes, which is why we're doing it. But I think I just wanted to say that. I think that it's because Charlotte's had a lot of criticism for just hyping up and bringing out the same things, the same colours, but just hyping it up from a different angle. And I think maybe, in fairness, she's probably has been guilty of that in the past, but I actually think the concept here, it's worth doing. But for those that are collecting, it's still worth knowing what it's copying. So yes, agreed with all of that. Now, when we did the liners last week, I actually think that the copper liner is closer to Pillow Talk liner than this one. This was a bit more purpley. I can't, I mean, she's called it limited edition again. It's always difficult to know. I think sometimes she just tests out how well something sells, but these are something that you can collect, I think, over time if you like them. But I do agree that this is very, very like Confident Eyes. And before I finish, I will show you Charlotte Darling next to the what's she calling it? The copper one. Now this liner's got a bit more, as I said, a bit more purple in than the Pillow Talk liner. So be a bit careful about using it in your lower waterline, because when it's got that amount of purple, for some reason her Pillow Talk has got just the right amount of brown and purple for you not to look tired. But some of these liners, if you start putting them in your waterline, you start to look a bit like you've got red eyes. Now, if you've got green eyes, it may not look like that. But if I start putting burgundy in my waterline, I start looking just like I haven't slept. But I am going to put this metallic side on, and I'm going to take that into the corner. And I'm going to put a bit more on this inner corner as well. But I'm not putting that in my water. I might try this one in my waterline. Let me try it, and you can see. If I put the darker one in my waterline, it probably would definitely look like I was a bit tired. But this one, I could possibly get away with. Sorry, I just put it there and it still had some of this on top. That's a problem when you go over the other liner with it. You end up with a bit of a mixture. So let me show you what I mean. See whether it makes me look a bit tired. But the other thing that you can do is put, say, the blue or the green in the waterline to contrast. You see, it just doesn't. Now, if I've got green eyes, that would probably really work well for me. But that is just making me look a little bit, I think, a little bit tired. Let me just show you. I'm going to look a bit weird now. Let me just show you. If I put the green, because remembering this is for green eyes, because green is a contrasting colour. If I put the green metallic pencil in the waterline, I think that's going to look a lot better. Let me just try that. It's called, when you do a very contrasting colour underneath, it's called a drop shadow. And I love doing drop shadows. Yeah, now, you see, I like that. Can you see how that's sort of just making your eyes pop, whereas this just makes me look a bit tired? But if I had green eyes, that probably wouldn't do that, because it's be enough contrast with your green eyes. But because I've got brown eyes, it's making me look a little bit like I haven't slept, whereas that is just, I think, is a lot better. It's bringing out, and I haven't got any tissue to remove that from my, excuse me a minute, it's going to be a bit of a mix, but never mind. Thank you. But I find her Pillow Talk liner, although it's got purple in it, it's not really going to work mixing the two, I don't think, but never mind. Oh, it's not bad. Although it's got purple in it, it doesn't do that. It doesn't make me look tired. So you just have to be careful with kind of reddy purple eyeliners in the waterline. Now I'll put some mascara on. And I was about to chuck out, if I can show it you. I was about to chuck this out because it was very old, but I cleaned it up and it's still allowing me to charge it. And I can't, because I couldn't find another one. I was going to get a new one on Amazon. I bought this a couple of years ago on Amazon. And it actually, if you see here, it's got USB. And the other side, it's a heated eyelash curler. Now, you're not supposed to put this on before you do your mascara. You're supposed to put it on afterwards. And it works really well. And it did actually allow me to charge it up. So I've kept it, cleaned it up and kept it because it works really well. But I could not find it on Amazon. And why I like this is it slips into my little brush kit. It just slips into here. See, I can have all my pencils and stuff and I can slip that into there and shut the case. I love Charlotte's brush kit. This is one from a couple of years ago. It's my favourite one. I did get the gold one, but I love this one. Someone was selling one on eBay for a lot of money. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Bloodshot. Shoshana says it makes the eyes look bloodshot. Yes, that's the thing. But I think if you had green eyes, it wouldn't, because it would contrast with your green eyes. Hello, Beauty Horizon. So I'm just doing, I've mucked up my mascara a bit there. I'm just doing a couple of coats of mascara, and this is Benefit Bad Gal Bang. For some reason, it's clumping a bit today. Probably because I didn't leave enough time between coats. Jack's gone very quiet. Now, I'm going to show you this. Now, you can't get this, but you can get others that are like pens, but they're longer and they're bigger. But you just press that button there, and that is sort of cooler, and that's the hotter setting, right? And I'll do this one, all right, so that you can see. And you really don't have to wait too long for it to warm up. And you do it when you've got your mascara on. Don't do it. It won't work on just... And then you literally just do that for a couple of seconds and move it up. Look at that. If I look down, you can see how much it's... And you can get really into these corner ones. And this side here. Excuse the goldfish face. See the difference? So if I find this somewhere, I'll let you know. But otherwise, if you get one of these types of heated eyelash curlers, I think they're great. And they're so quick to do. Let me do the other one now. Otherwise, I'm going to look a bit weird. And you just charge it up. It's a USB. Really does make me look like I've got false lashes on, I think. It sort of really curls them up. There we go. So dinky but powerful, absolutely. And you just put the cap back on. It's ready to use again. Do wash it quite regularly, because obviously because you're using it on mascara, you're going to end up with quite a bit of mascara on there. So just make sure you clean it regularly, but it's really good. Yeah. Right. So that is the maroon. But you know what? I've done it again. I always do it. I always do it. I haven't used the pop shade. Now, there's no point applying the pop shade with your fingers because it's not her traditional pop shade. It's actually a normal eyeshadow powder. Now, you could use Supersonic Girl palette of pops. You could use the other one that she brought out. What was it? Celestial Eyes palette of pops with this palette if you wanted a proper pop shade. Let's just put some. There we are. Right, so that's that. And then I'll put a bit of lippy on. And then I'm going to show you Charlotte Darling palette next to, let's do that now. And then I'll finish off and do my, finish off the look next. So here is the copper palette. Let me just, I've kept the boxes because I quite like the boxes. I quite like them. I think they're quite good. The fact that they're sort of colour coded. I wish she'd kind of do, I wish she'd copy that into the actual palette, because I think it would be good to colour code the actual palette, because I just like that when you're going to reach for them, you can actually see, that's the copper one. That's the, you know, if you are getting more than one, that one's the maroon one, then the blue one. It's quite nice. And she's kind of done it with these, with the liners, but she's not done it with the palettes. They all look the same once you take them out of the box. But anyway. So here we have the copper palette. Okay, I'm just going to give that a little spray from a distance. Make sure there's nothing nasty sitting on there. Okay, and I'm going to get Charlotte Darling. Now, Charlotte Darling definitely needs a spray because I use that a lot with my fingers. So I will give that a spray too. So I'm just using, for those of you that just joined me, this is by the Pro Hygiene collection. You can get it on Cult Beauty. But if not, you can just use alcohol rubbing spray in a squirty bottle. So I'm just going to spray my palette. You only need to spray it once. So let me just show you these as it's drying off. Let me just show you these together. So you can see they do look quite similar. But I haven't actually done any direct comparisons yet myself. So the copper palette's got one matte in. So I'm just intrigued, first of all, to just check the one matte. Now I'm going to have to dip my fingers in this to swatch. But it's fine. I'll just spray it afterwards and my hands are clean. So this is the smoke shade from the copper palette. In fact, I'll do this one first. Let me just swatch the whole palette. Okay, that is the smoke shade. Let me do the enhanced shade. So that's the enhanced shade. Isn't that beautiful? Very pigmented. Oh, you repeated your question? What was that? You want the Icon palette with the new blue quad, please? Yes, of course. Don't worry. So that is the prime shade, and then lastly, this is the pop shade. Right, so that's the copper quad. Now I'm going to do Charlotte Darling. So Charlotte Darling's got three matte shades. I'm going to try and do the matte shades next to the matte shade of this so that we can have a look. So, right, this is shade 3, which is, so look, I'm just going to show you. 3, 5 and 6 are matte shades. So I'm going to do them, try and do them right next to this one so that you can see. So that one's lighter. And then this one looks like it could be quite similar, if not the same. So shade 5, I think that's very similar. Do you know what? I've messed that up because I had some enhanced shade on my hand. Let me do that one again with a clean finger. I think that's quite close to this. So that's shade 5. And then the last one, I think is quite a bit darker. Sorry, that's my sister calling me. I told her I was doing my live. Come and join me, sis, on my live instead of calling me. So, yeah, I would say that it's probably the matte shade from the new Copper Quad is very similar to this one here in the Charlotte Darling palette, number 5. So now we've done the matte shades. Sorry, I'm losing concentration for some reason. I think my sister's put me off by trying to call me. I think the prime shade is going to look... I wish I'd bought some... I've got a tissue here. The prime shade is always going to look very similar. And I think this is very similar, actually. So let me just wipe my fingers a minute. So this is the prime shade of the Copper palette. And then the prime shade of Charlotte Darling is there. Slightly lighter, slightly less gold. Let me just put them here. So prime and prime. So that's Charlotte Darling. That's the copper. So it's actually pinkier, the one in Charlotte Darling. Then the enhanced shade of copper, the Copper Quad. And then let me see. Yeah, I would think that's probably quite similar to the second shade in Charlotte Darling here. So let me put that next to... They're quite similar. Again, I would say Charlotte Darling is pinkier. So let me just... I'm running out of space here. Oh, look. Yeah, so that's Charlotte Darling. And that's the enhanced shade of the Copper Quad. So it's not really that, is it? Let me see. Let me go to number 4 of Charlotte Darling and see if that one is similar to the enhanced shade. Again, it's got more kind of pink in it, I think. And then there isn't another one. So, yeah, and then let's go last but not least to look at the pop shade. So the pop shade is gold. I don't think there's anything gold in Charlotte Darling. Let me do that here. So similar. But if you look at Charlotte Darling, there isn't really anything gold in there that would go with the pop shade. So I think they're similar. But I think the Charlotte Darling palette, I'm just, excuse me, covering up the mirror with a tissue. The Charlotte Darling palette has got a little bit more sort of shades of pink in it. But what I'll do when I do the video, which I will will film tonight, I think, is I will put photographs in, so I'll put them directly against there. And definitely the smoke shade, the matte smoke shade is very similar to this one here, shade 5 in Charlotte Darling. But I think what I could do next time is do you a look doing this quad next, and then you can see it, and maybe I can do one eye using this palette and one eye using Charlotte Darling. Drat, I've missed it. Oh, don't worry, Julianne. Obviously it'll save and you can catch it later, but I'm hopefully going to be a bit more around at the moment. You adore peachy tones. Yeah, I do think it's subtly different, but it just depends on how much you wear those tones and how much you wear those tones. If you get bored quite quickly, you might not want to get this if you've got Charlotte Darling, but there is a subtle difference. And definitely you've got the golden pop shade, so it's going to come out looking quite different. It is very coppery, whereas this is kind of more, there's more pink in it generally. There's a bit more pinky tones. Yeah. Now, I must go back to Stacey's question. So Stacey wanted me to compare. It's a really good perceptive one again, and I think you're quite right, Stacey. You wanted me to compare the blue palette with the blue in the Icon palette. So I haven't looked at this yet, but I think, again, you're right, that the blue, the pop shade in this palette, if I can get the box open, it's the only disadvantage with keeping all the boxes. So the pop shade in this palette, this is the blue one, is quite similar to the blue in the Icon. Now, I just got to go off camera for a minute. Icon to maroon palette, please. Icon to maroon, okay. Let me get my Icon palette out. Just hold on a second, will you, everyone? And I haven't got my Icon one to hand, but I can get it. Let me just... Here we are. Thankfully, I bring most of the things around me for the video. Okay, so here's the Icon palette. So I'll do the blue first. Your phone died. Don't worry, I haven't done it yet, Stacey. So you're okay. So let me just open the Icon palette. So you can see that this blue and that blue, they look very close indeed, if not the same. So let me just swatch those. So I'm running out of arm here, but right, this is from, they don't swatch brilliantly, I have to say, these blues. So this is from her new palette, her new blue palette. And yet they look a lot better on the eyes. Okay, and then here's the blue from the Icon palette. So they are quite similar, if not the same. But you don't have this matte, this beautiful matte smoke, which again doesn't swatch very well, but it looks beautiful on the eye. It's one of those that I think needs one of the Wayne Goss brush head swatches. It looks almost black when you swatch it here, but it is beautiful. And I just think that this is a lovely a lovely selection of colours if you've got brown eyes. You could probably achieve that with the Icon palette, but you wouldn't have the matte smoke, which I think makes so much difference. You do have this black, the black matte shade, so you could get something quite similar if you use that, and then this is very similar to the prime shade here, and then you've got this sort of enhanced shade which is probably quite similar to that. So you could probably, again, you could achieve something quite similar with these ones from the Icon palette. Okay, and then, yes, that's such a good description, Jessica. You love how the blue enhanced shade sort of separates into blue with a purple base. It's so pretty. Yes. Now, is the Icon palette different enough to buy it? Gemma, could you just expand on your question? Is the Icon palette different enough from what to buy it? Or are you saying is the blue palette different enough to the Icon to buy it? I just need to be a bit clearer about your question. I mean, the Icon palette is a good palette because, as Gina has said, it's got a good selection of shades in here. Now, one of you asked about the Icon versus the maroon. So let me just get the maroon palette again. I'm just going to close that. Give these a good squirt later on because I had my fingers dipped in all of them. This one is the copper one. I don't want that. I want this one, the maroon one. You're trying to decide, Ray, if maroon or Icon, if it's different enough, okay? So here is the maroon and here is the Icon. So let me just have a look at these two. So I think with the prime shades, sorry, I've just gone and put a load of blue in the prime shade now. Let me just give that a wipe over. I should have brought some wipes with me. Jack. Oh, he heard me. Jack, darling. Yeah? Could you, in my bedroom somewhere on the side, you'll see some makeup remover wipes. You know those little packets of wipes? Could you, if you find one, could you bring a packet down for me? Because I'm covered in makeup here and trying to keep my hands clean. Thank you. So, let's have a look at it. So the prime shade is, I'm going to do it on the other finger. The prime shade is going to look similar because a prime shade is a prime shade. I think a lot of prime shades look similar. But that is the prime shade of the maroon palette, which I think is probably quite similar to the first row, first middle. No, that's darker. Thank you, darling. Cheers. Let me have a look. So the only one actually, let's see if it's similar to the prime shade. No, that's got more gold in it. Okay, so the prime shade from the maroon palette is quite a light pink, and there isn't a light pink in the Icon palette, so there really isn't anything to copy that. I thought it was going to be similar to this one, looking at it, which is that one here. I thought it was going to be similar, but it's not. So there isn't anything similar to the prime shade. Let me just open one of my wipes now. Now, the enhanced shade, I think there is one that's quite similar. Just cleaning some makeup off my fingers. Right. Let me see. So the enhanced shade, here's the enhanced shade of the maroon palette. Okay, which looks quite similar to, let me do the second row, middle one, which I'll show you in a minute. It looks quite similar, but this has got, it is quite similar, but this has got a little bit more pink in it. You see that? So that one is this one here in the middle. Okay, then we've got the smoke shade of the maroon palette. That's the smoke shade of the maroon palette. Now, she doesn't have any matte shades in here, but let me just try this one here, because this isn't completely shimmery. It's sort of more of a satin, so it might be similar. Similar, but more red. This has got a bit more purple in it. And then finally, you've got the pop shade of the maroon palette, which I think is going to look like, I think the pop shade looks like this one, actually, this one here. So let's just do that one. So they are quite similar. So it really depends on what you think. When you see those, you can get those colours. So the top one, the prime shade, I use this one, although it's a little bit darker. Prime shade of the maroon palette, I use this one from the icon. Then the enhanced shade, I used this one from the icon. And then the smoke shade, I used this one from the icon. And then the pop shade, I used this one again from the icon. So it's basically these three are similar to the maroon palette. So I hope that's answered that question. I'll just show that again. Okay, they are similar. So I think, you know, if you're a Charlotte Tilbury collector, I think, and of course we haven't talked about the green palette, but the green palette is the Rebel Reimagined, which came out a while ago. So just to repeat to anyone, do not go and get green lights if you've got the Rebel Reimagined, because it's the same thing. So you are going to get repeats if you're a Charlotte Tilbury collector. But I think the beauty of these is the colour coding in terms of, like her colour chameleons. This is great if you've got brown eyes. This is great if you've got blue eyes. I just think, you know what, she should have bought these out before she bought out the Icon palette. Because I think this is closer to her philosophy than the Icon palette was. The Icon palette was great. It was kind of, I'm going to make a palette that's got lots of colours, that's great for makeup artists and people that like to experiment with colours. But that's not what her philosophy was originally about. Her philosophy was about making it easy to recreate looks for people that might be a bit scared of experimenting. So I think these are truer to her philosophy, but I do think that you will find, and this one as well, you know, let's have a look at this very quickly before I finish off my look. I've been on for over an hour now. I hope you're all still with me and not bored to tears. You know, you could probably hold up the copper one and say, there's similar-ish colours there as well. So, you know, this enhanced shade here in the Copper Lights palette is probably identical to this one, actually. Not identical, but similar, very similar. And the matte one, let's see, the matte one in Copper Lights is quite similar to that one. So there's a bit in the icon palette of all of these. And you've got the green that's going to be similar to the Green Lights palette. So if you've got the icon, you've almost got the full palettes, really. The full colour-coded palettes. If you kind of experiment, you could get the looks. So yeah, if you've got the icon palette, you might want to double think about whether you want to get these. I just love them. I like the way that they've been put together as quads, and I think they just make it fun. There's something about this palette as well. It always looks really grubby. I think Wayne Goss said that I don't know, it must be the formula, but it always looks like, I don't know. But it is lovely, and I hope you all got it at Christmas when they reduced it. And of course, I don't know if she sells this anymore, but if you have this, then you have got a lot of colours in these quads. You feel like you need everything. I think there's one thing about needing and actually wanting, because I do think she's brought out so many palettes now that, let's face it, it's going to be difficult for her to bring out something that is completely unique. I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking down at my palettes. I don't have time to count them all, but she's brought out a lot. So, you know, she is going to double up. And I think it is about, like, what combination do you want? I did not, when this, as you all know, when this palette came out, Charlotte Darling, I didn't buy it. And I did a review showing you the colours from, because they were repeats from Stars in Your Eyes and Dolce Vita, otherwise known as Bella Sophia. So basically I had all the colours, but I've actually used this more than anything. I ended up succumbing to it because I just love the combination. And when you're going to get ready, I tend to only want to use one palette. So yeah. So what was this? Yes, she did, Jess. I only bought because I saw it on eBay. Have you compared Charlotte Darling yet to Copper Charles? Yes, I did. Yeah. Right. So let me just finish off this look, shall I? Let's see what things I've got around me. I haven't got all my blushes around me. And but I've got some, let me do some quick brows. Let me show you this. This will go really nicely, actually, with this look. This is Daniel Sandler's watercolour gel cheek colour. And this is in Berry. He actually sent me this. He's a sweetheart. Because I did a review of two of the other ones in Mango and... There's Mango and another one. I've forgotten what the other one was called. And he sent me this one as a little thank you. That is it. It looks really lovely on, and I'm going to put this on my cheeks because it will go beautifully with this palette, actually. And I'm going to show you this on my lips because I don't think I ever got round to showing it you on the lips. And it actually looks very nice. It looks very like Walk of Shame. Now, what Daniel gave me a little tip about application. He said to make your lips look fuller, He said apply to the top lip first and then blot, because I was doing it to the bottom and then blotting. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to put a little bit on my fingers. Says she, I'm not going to apply makeup with my fingers, but I haven't been dipping it in and out of powder. That's the difference. Ooh. And you can build this up. It looks really lovely on this lip, on the lips. See, so you can have it like that or you can build it up. I love that. So that is Daniel Sandler's. So versatile, really versatile, and very similar formula to her Charlotte's, her Beauty Light ones. She's looking quite glowy because it's a gel cream. So that's Daniel Sandler's watercolour gel cream in berry, right? And I'm now going to just do my brows. Let me do my brows. I shall use Benefit Precisely My Brow. Daniel, I'll tell you, Daniel's makeup is superb. And it's so reasonably priced compared to Charlotte Tilbury. These are £16, but they will last you a long time because you only need to put a tiny bit on your finger. And there's 10 mils in here. I'm just looking to see. Let me see if I've got one of the Beauty Light ones. There is 12 mils in Charlotte's, but that is, her Beauty Light ones are 20, what are they? They're 20 something pounds. This is £16 for 10 mils. And they've got more pigment in them. They're not highlightery type ones, but they are £29. Thank you, Stacey. This is 16. And you can put it on your lips. And it feels, you know, sometimes when you put cheek products on your lips, they feel drying. This doesn't feel drying. But it's also quite long lasting. Now I'm using Precisely My Brow, which I only discovered the other day had a brush at the end because I had a separate brush and I didn't realise. But the other day I went like that and thought, oh, there's a brush there. I didn't realise. And I'm using shade 5. He does. And I'd reviewed this cheek product after he sent it me, but I don't think I ever got round to showing you guys what it looked like on the lips. It does remind me a lot of Walk of Shame. That'll do, I think. And give them a brush. No problem, Shara. Hello, and thank you for joining us. So that is my look. I'll tell you what, I'll put a bit of Charlotte's on to use it as more of a highlighter. So this is Peachgasm. It'll go quite nicely above that as a highlighter. And actually, because pigment is pigment, I'm just going to take a little bit of that Peachgasm and dab it in the centre there. A Charlotte Daniel combo. Which always sounds like fast food shopping. So, I hope you've enjoyed today. I will pop back up and do some more lives. I'll post it on the community. I might get a schedule going now, and I'd like to try and do some different times, because I know that I think my Australian friends have all gone to bed now, but my American friends are all getting up. So it's morning for them. So maybe if I do an earlier one, then I can get my Australian friends, and I can kind of, but Wednesday will be 1 o'clock. It was a bit later today. I'll stick to the regular time for Wednesday, and then just keep an eye out on the community posts, and yeah, I'll let you know in advance when I'm going to be doing another live. Thank you all so much for joining me. 11 o'clock in Canada. Ah, right. So we've got some Canadian friends and American friends. Great to see you all, and thank you for sticking with me again. And I hope to see a lot more of you when we're all confined to our houses. At least we can play with makeup. And just remember, everyone, stay safe. Don't forget makeup as well, in terms of keeping your makeup clean, keeping your brushes clean. And if you've dipped your hands in your fingers like I have today into powders, do make sure you go over them and just give them a squirt with either alcohol rub in a spray bottle, or this is what I use today, which is makeup spray by the Pro Hygiene collection. You can find it on their own website or on Cult Beauty. All right, stay safe. Take care, everyone. Mwah!